times gone by, trains once rattled across this viaduct, carrying commuters straight into the heart of the City of London. Now today, the trains have long gone, and the major railway station that handled millions of passengers every year has vanished completely. But hidden amongst the streets are the surviving fragments of the railway that once led to one of London's busiest termini, Broad Street Station. Broad Street Station opened to passengers on the 1st of November 1865. It was built by the North London Railway and it served suburban routes across North London, bringing workers directly into the city. At its peak in the late 19th century, tens of millions of passengers passed through Broad Street every year.
It wouldn't be any surprise to you that nothing really remains of the station now. We'll be standing, in fact, let's cross over the road. I think we better get a better view, John, of the view, because we've got some old photographs to just to show you what it used to look like.
But by the 20th century, Broad Street's fortunes began to change. The expansion of the underground and improved transport across London reduced reliance on suburban rail. By the 1980s, the station had been reduced to just a handful of platforms, and in 1986, it closed for good. It remains the only central London terminus to disappear completely.
That's not the building that was built after the station was demolished, though, in the 1980s. That was like a gold building, so I wonder if they just completely knocked that building down and rebuilt again. It doesn't seem a lot of time, does it?
Wasn't shiny enough for London, obviously.
I mean, that's well within my lifetime. A building's built and discarded.
Yeah.
But this whole area, we do have quite a lot of Britain from above images that just shows you the scale of the railways around here, like a lot of places that we go to. And the goods yards, and it had a lot of the London North Western Railway goods yards adjoining this station. And of course, what have we got next to the old Broadgate station?
Yeah.
The Liverpool Street station, obviously, is still very much in use. You might be thinking, well, why did London lose a terminus station? You know, all the other stations seem to be at capacity, and this station primarily kind of served suburban commuters, didn't it?
It was North London, kind of like serving from here all the way up to Camden and back over to the other side of the city. At that point in time, intra-travel within London was probably out of fashion.
Well, I think it was the development of the underground.
Kind of killed it off, I guess.
Yeah, that was just a much better network.
But not everything disappeared. The railway may be gone, but its footprint is still here, and you can still trace the exact route the viaduct took into the station.
This is Worship Street. We're just at the northern end now, where the viaduct would be leaving Broad Street Station. And if we turn you that way, look, you see the green bridge there? That's the lines going out of Liverpool Street, passing underneath Worship Street. And if we just pan you around here, so those lines are going under. All this way we're looking down now, looking along Worship Street. We would have been looking underneath the viaduct here, so that would be going. Assuming we'd have an archway or a girder span or something, but the tracks would still be pretty wide here. That's just an unbelievable view.
It's just changed, isn't it? It's just
like you're in a chasm of tall buildings here, but you'd have been walking underneath a...
Yeah, it's just a raised from existence, but you can sort of imagine the path of it. Is that built to like represent a towering viaduct? I'm not sure.
To reach Broad Street, trains travelled across the Kingsland Viaduct, a 2-mile-long elevated railway. The viaduct formed part of the railway city extension, allowing suburban services from North London to reach this busy terminus right beside Liverpool Street. And what happened to the viaduct? With the station gone, the railway that once fed it was no longer needed, and much of the Kingsland Viaduct was abandoned, and large sections were later demolished.
So here's where our story of this viaduct and this Broad Street story starts to get interesting, John, because we've got remains of a little segment of viaducts, a very, very small segment of viaducts. I'm just showing you this view here, though, because if we jump in the Google Street View car, it's called, back to 2008, we can actually still see a bridge standing here, and it's like they're in the process of demolition. It doesn't look in a good state. It's pretty much gone all the way to the right-hand side.
They've done a good job of bricking it up with no kind of, you can't really tell. It's like a different age.
Yeah, it's seamless.
Books, yeah. It's weathered nicely and it's, yeah.
So you keep forgetting 1986, all this was...
Yeah, it's closed in 86, it's not that long ago.
I mean, I'm assuming this has been redeveloped over time and there were still other fragments of this viaduct until, you know, in the last 20 years. And we're going to go and show you now on top of this viaduct, so quite a treat. We can go up onto this short section. I suppose this is the reason for this video.
Yeah, exactly,
John,
yeah.
this is why we've come here today, because we're doing this series, Highlines of the UK, all about the regeneration of disused railway viaducts.
Exactly, into like pocket parks, garden areas, garden walks, and this is a small example of one.
Now, I've not been up here before, John. I've not seen this.
Well, I've not been in the sun. I came in January. It was freezing cold, drizzling. So I'm looking forward to having a nice little sit with a biscuit at the top.
Oh, right. Is it?
It's up here. It's up here.
Sun trap. So we have got some stairs that go up to it. It is very, very well. It looks very well. No doubt it wouldn't have looked this well when it was open. Not as clean. So there's a gate on here. It's obviously closed at certain times of the day.
Ta-da! We have a micro highline.
It really is micro, John.
It's very micro.
In fact, you wouldn't even know, being up here, John, that you're on top of an old railway viaduct.
I don't think you would.
Not all of that viaduct was demolished, though. The northern half of the viaduct, we'll show you some of this in a bit, was turned into, what is it called? It's like the overground line.
I think it is the overground line,
It's the overground. I don't know the name for it.
I think it still connects Camden, doesn't it, down to Shoreditch?
Somewhere down there.
I think so.
Yeah. We're not from round here. I don't know. I don't know.
We're not on our usual turf here, are we?
Can you see the?
That's the livery.
Train? So that has left this line over there and is now branching off to wherever it's going. I'll put that on the screen. I want to have a look just to the edge of the viaduct. I don't want to be treading across this flower bed, though. I'll be as careful as I can. But there we are, looking over the road. And there's the other side of the viaduct. And look at that, where you can see those old London Underground stock there sat on top of that. I do believe that's artist studios, but does anybody know when this bridge across here, this span here, was taken down? So this is down the other end of the viaduct then, so we'll be facing back towards Broad Street Station here. There we go, there's the rest of the viaduct.
Just disappeared.
It's interesting, John, why they've left this
just a little bit
short section here.
I reckon they just wanted to make a feature of it, you know, and it sets it apart from just like other developments where you've just got endless tower blocks, perhaps. You know, and it's probably part of the sales pitch they gave to be able to redevelop this land. Don't know.
I'm always interested to hear people's experiences of things like this. Can you remember when this line was in use? I'm guessing a lot of people who watch these videos will remember pre-1986. Or do you remember when this viaduct sat in a state of decay, you know, before it was demolished or turned into this? But that's got to be one of the most unusual uses of an old viaduct, that, hasn't it? I don't think I've ever seen anything like that. And to see a viaduct with trains still on it, but don't run anymore. We'll have a look at the viaduct then from the ground level. Look. So there's the other side. Tube trains standing above, looking over the street. I wonder what type of bridge this actually was. I'm guessing it was a girder span, but look at these little arches that remain here, these little ornamental pillars. Quite a contrasting view, isn't it, that? The old viaduct, which probably would have been considered vast in its time, just against the backdrop of all this modern high-rise building.
Here in Shoreditch, the fragments of the old railway still survive. Some of the viaduct arches remain, now home to businesses, bars and creative spaces.
We'll see if we can follow the viaduct, get some more views of anything interesting on the route, John. There is one more thing I want to show you on this viaduct, something interesting. We have got another disused station.
Looking forward to it, indeed.
Next little segment of viaduct then. So is that another Another bridge over this road, I'm assuming, another girder span.
Kingsland
Viaduct. And how many arches it's got?
Oh gosh.
And how many girder spans it's got? Because we got a bit hung up on that.
We got very hung up on the Holbeck Viaduct. But the thing is, I mean, this viaduct could go 2 miles, and it's like, now it's almost impossible to count. You'd have to go back through the records. I don't know if it'd be possible to work out how many you had.
So there's a good view down the rest of the viaduct there, or some of the rest of the viaduct.
I wouldn't say it's a sympathetic addition.
No. So what we're looking at here then, we've got this new bridge here, look. It's not exactly on the... getting run over here, John. Someone's reversing into us. Yeah, it's not on the alignment. That's because this is where... There's a train just above us there. That's where the new line kind of leaves. This is a brand new railway built.
Yeah, exactly. And it's very brutalist concrete architecture going into what we were saying just now is a lovely light coloured brick ornate viaduct. But I guess that's it, it's modern.
You see, it's curving round, it's pretty much taking a 90-degree bend there.
Hence those screechers.
So one more thing to show you, we've just come to the corner of Old Street and Kingsland Road there. Oh, this bus has timed it just right, John. Just
perfect to obstruct the view.
We're looking here over at the old Shoreditch station there, and that building on the corner there, that's the old station. Oh, look at that, 1928. Can you make it out on the brickwork?
Oh, at the top, yeah.
I was hoping maybe it was a cafe or something like that. We could get in there.
What it is, but it doesn't look like we can get in there.
But whatever it is, if it's still something, it's certainly not open right now. But apparently the original stairways and some of the features are still inside that building. Now that building replaced an original building, and that's a 3-storey building. It replaced a 2-storey building in 1928, hence the date at the top. And that station, this opened at the same time as Broad Street, but this closed in 1940. And one of the reasons it closed, or the primary reason it closed, is because it suffered damage in 1940 during an air raid in World War II. Now that's still an active railway line, and that's, as we've been seeing, that's part of that London Overground system. We know that opened a little later, but when they reopened that railway, when they kind of made this into an active line in 2010, they didn't reopen this station. They did the station a bit further around the corner.
Yeah.
I thought something landed on my head then.
I can't see any poo damage.
Alright, it says for hire. If you can see in there, it's not very clear. Can't really see anything there in terms of stairs. Now the station entrance to this, the primary station entrance was through the building. Right. But there's these doorways. Now, you find these, look, I'll show you what we had up right between the 2 sets of running lines. And there was a platform, an island platform in the middle. Now, this surely has got to be an entrance, John, hasn't it?
I'm sure it must be. It's got the ceramic bricks you see sometimes in subways.
Yeah. I'm going that this was a road level entrance.
Whilst out doing our touristy thing, we popped into the bike shed for a brew and a gander, which is one of the businesses residing under the Kingsland Viaduct in Shoreditch. I am sorry about the background noise in some bits of this video, but these are noisy and busy places that we're recording in. But I hope you enjoyed this first video from our foray into London. If you're new, please consider subscribing. If you really like the videos, then why not consider becoming a channel member for only a couple of quid a month, helping to support a small channel. I do the odd members only video, including one about how our day out in London panned out. And of course, thanks to all my existing wonderful channel members and supporters, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ra!